Hey, so I just want to do a quick video to say that the podcast is now available as an audio distribution. So I've been working on getting this done for a while, and I ended up getting it set up, I don't know, I'd say about a week or so ago, but I forgot to announce it. So yeah, that is available now, and it is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Music, pretty much everything, like everywhere you can listen to podcasts. So yeah, feel free to listen to that anywhere. It's also available on a bunch of like little podcasting apps as well. So it's probably going to be on whatever you use. Now, the reason I didn't announce it earlier was that I was actually waiting to get it onto the app that I use myself. So I use AntennaPod, and that pulls from Apple Podcasts. So I would feel a little dumb if I announced my audio distribution if I couldn't watch the podcast myself. So I was waiting for it to get onto Apple Podcasts, so then the like little podcasting apps could actually scrape that. So if you didn't know, that's actually how like all the like the little apps actually work. So they don't have their own way to scrape RSS feeds really. What they do is they'll pull from something like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever the Google Podcast thing is called. Yeah, any of the other, like Spotify sometimes. So they'll pull from one of like the little podcasting, or one of the bigger podcasting services, and then basically that's how they'll do that. So I also have another thing to announce for the podcast. I was talking to DistroTube on Mastodon earlier, and he was saying that he might be interested in coming on. So that would be absolutely awesome, I would say. So hopefully I can get that arranged. I don't know when that's going to be, or I guess how long that episode's going to be, when it's going to come out. I'm going to still like have to arrange the details, but yeah, that'll be absolutely awesome when that happens. So keep your eyes out for that if you're enjoying the podcast, I guess. So I'm also going to try to get a couple of more people on the podcast. I know I've been doing a lot of the solo episodes lately, but because of the quarantine, no one's really doing anything right now. So I feel like some people who may have been too busy before, but were still willing to come on the podcast, may actually have time to do it now. So yeah, I will hopefully have some episodes that aren't solo episodes coming up soon, and hopefully those will make it so people who otherwise wouldn't have been interested in coming on because the podcast was just too small, maybe that'll actually entice them to actually, you know, try out the podcast. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. I didn't really have much else I wanted to say in this video, so this one's just going to be a really short one. And yeah, check out the podcast if you're not already watching this. If you watch this without, you know, being interested in the podcast, thank you. I don't know why you did, but yeah, the podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the podcasting apps. So yeah, watch it anywhere, and yeah, have fun with that, I guess. So actually I've got a drink in my hand, I can't do what I normally do to end videos, so I'm out.